Welcome, welcome. Give me a minute. Give me a moment to share this live. That's true. Okay, never mind. Let me just do a quick share. We're going to be talking about a little bit about everything. And the biggest theme is transformation. Our biggest transformation as of yet. And I'm going to be sharing some updates, some opportunities. Okay. Two more. Give it a few moments as well as people come in. If anyone comes in, we'll see. And lastly, all right. Okay. I know that I'm live on YouTube, and actually, let me check. Let me check the chat. Okay. Just put a little heart for me. Okay. I'll keep checking in a little bit. I do want to kind of set the stage first. Bring through some of the biggest frequencies, energies, transformative energies that we have experienced. As I continue to settle in a little bit better, like the energies have anchored, feeling much more opened. It's almost like you guys know when you are climbing up a mountain, right? That at height that you're not used to. when you actually gonna bring this when you as you climb up this mountain, you start to your body starts to feel different. Your body has to adjust, right? It has to adjust to the height. It has to adjust to the whether it's the temperature, the air pressure, all of these different factors, right? Um, affect the body, and it's just normal. Right? Like you might need to go a little slower, you might need to breathe, and in a different way too. So that's literally how it starts to feel. You start having head pressure, you start having headaches, you start getting dizzy. Like this is literally how you start to feel as you start to ascend, and like higher and higher in frequency, and you expand in consciousness too. So for the last couple of weeks, it's been kind of this anchoring, this adjustment, this getting used to the height, the frequencies, right? The elevation. Because while your body may still look like it's on the ground, your energy shifts. Your energy starts to up level. Your energy starts to rise. Frequency starts to rise. Hence, your consciousness starts to expand as well. So, again, for the past 2 weeks, it's been like getting acclimated, getting adjusted. And so now it's been this kind of like, okay, here we are in a whole new, in a higher dimension, in a higher frequency. And it's all, this whole journey becomes about a continual exploration, continually exploring this new world, this new frequency, this expanded state of consciousness. So it all becomes this magical, mystical ride where everything is new. Everything is slightly different, right? This is part of the reason why we have to stay super open and super observant and super aware of your your internal and your external, your physical, the world that you can touch becomes your immediate physical reality. We start to notice a shift, we start to notice the changes, right? We start to notice the subtleties and then the big massive shifts, because that's what's going to allow you to perceive in this new world, new reality. So anyway, that's been kind of me for the past few weeks. And for those that are here, let me just check in here. Can I do this? Okay, cool. I'm gonna just put welcome. This is a pop-up call, like one of my teachers used to say. So it might just be me sharing a little bit more, sharing here on this incredibly powerful phase. We have just crossed the 6-month mark. Okay. We are starting a completely new 6-month journey. And with that, there's a lot of things that are still kind of shifting. It's like, think of a puzzle piece, a puzzle. All right. We have all of these pieces that have been scattered all around the floor or all across the table or even all over your house. Right now, what we're going to continue to see and feel is the coming together of all of your puzzle pieces, coming back of all of your soul fragments, a realignment of all of those pieces that were separate. And what does that entail? A gazillion things. Everything is going to take us even deeper. Okay, we thought we went deep. We haven't even at some level scratched the surface. There is so much more in the horizon. And I'll take a few things that have come through for me, that have of themes that people have asked or have brought up. Okay, I had a one of my, I guess I'll just say follower, one of my followers, brought up a big theme. You know, the pretty kind of like in the kind of doom and gloom, frequency. And I didn't, and I told her, I said, I'm not really watching or listening to what anyone else is saying out there. Okay, that was kind of the beginning of the year. That was kind of like, okay, where are people at? And listening a little bit to those conversations, just kind of, feeling into things. I like to listen to a little bit more like astrologers, and just to kind of see the planetary movements and the planetary shifts, right? Because I don't really have like a calendar yet. Sorry. But I guess it's maybe for the last 2 months, I have not been keeping up with anybody. It's been, well, I've been going through massive shifts and massive transformational processes that really take you completely out of um a lot it takes you out of a lot of different things. Like it takes you out of social, you have social media breaks. You Sometimes you won't have any energy. Sometimes you'll be asleep all day. Sometimes you will be completely focused on your personal physical reality, that everything else just doesn't really matter. And at some level, that's always going to be true. Your physical, personal, internal, and immediate physical reality is always going to be way, way, way more important and um, more powerful than any other reality that you perceive exists, because technically nothing else exists outside of you. Nothing is like, and that's why part of what we're able to tune in is as far as like, the external and the purposes and what will occur. We're able to tune into that from within our bodies, because our bodies tell us everything. When we really start to tune into our internal bodies, we start to see the pattern that you will continually be prepared for everything that will come, that will be part of your experience, um as long as you continue to honor your physical body and what's happening to your physical body. And your physical body will always give you clues on what's to come when you start to open up and when you start to embody more of your higher self. So there's a lot of things that I've seen, there's a lot of things that I've gone through, there's a lot of things that gift me with different, like different levels of information as to what is to come. Okay. What is to come in the next 9-year phase is probably beyond anything that we've experienced or thought we would experience in this lifetime. And that is mainly because of the huge shift in consciousness that we are going through. And it's actually very normal. It's literally like a 9-month pregnancy cycle, which right now we're in the end of a 9-year cycle. So this is literally like the 9th month of your pregnancy. And it's the most uncomfortable, right? There's so much in the body, the aches and the contraction pains and the uncomfortability, and all of these different things start to increase. The pain starts to intensify, right? All of these physical sensations that are part of that phase start to increase. And so that's where we are right now. But again, feel into this is a rebirth. We're literally about to go through an enormous, magnanimous, powerful, super duper magical rebirth in every way possible. The biggest one that I want you to focus on is the one you're going to go through. Rebirth is basically the transformation phase. We are going to go through that birthing canal. And by the way, a lot of us have already been going through. I've been going through it more consciously for the past 5 years, but once I look back, I'm like, I've been going through this for years. The death and the rebirth, the death and transformation, the dissolution and transformation process. All of those things we've been going through for a really long time, but we haven't really experienced it at the level that we will. Everything is about to shift in that realm. And so it's going to be really important to forget everything and just embrace this process. And forget anything you ever thought, believed, anything that you think you need, anything that you thought you were, because that's the biggest thing. You're becoming someone higher. You're becoming more of that pure divine essence that you are. Every part of you that you thought you were, that you held on to, that held on to an identity, that created this perception of self, is continuing to dissolve and will continue to dissolve forever and ever and ever and ever. It's not comfortable. In fact, we will fight against this process so unconsciously that it won't make any sense, which is part of the reason why it takes us a while to really accept this, right? Like, we don't understand, why would we still want to live in the trauma? Why would we still choose, the abuse? Why would we still choose, misery? Why would we not choose our happiness? Why would we not choose love, right? It doesn't really make sense. And yet the linear mind continues to latch on to the old because of the beliefs that it still has. Gazillion beliefs of not being good enough, of not ever, not being able to receive love, not finding, ex partner, um not finding purpose, not like all of the like the list is long, of course. All of these aspects of yourself need to dissolve. Okay, we did not come to earth to play the same game over and over and over and over and over. The reason why we're here is to break out of that game, break out of those patterns, and shift into the new, shift into a higher dimensions. And the biggest thing that I want to say with that is that we think that we have to do it all, that it has to come from here, that it has to have some logical process, and it has to be super comfortable. And it is not. In fact, it's going to be the complete opposite. You're going to have to go through the ringer. You're going to have to go through that really intense birthing canal where you're screaming, where you're yelling, where you're think you're going out of your mind, where it's very intense, very uncomfortable. The pain is part of the process. Okay, there will be pain, just like in the natural birth. It's growing pains. I call them growing pains because it's literally like you're expanding. When you're little and your bones are growing, you're going through that expansion. And yet it's a very normal process, so it doesn't quite scare us so much. I mean, I'm sure there might be, just depends on. But overall, like, oh, it's, she's growing, right? Her bones are growing and it's gonna hurt a little bit, but it's a pretty normal. We have to normalize a lot of this, what this process is. We have to normalize this journey in a whole and see it from a whole in a whole new way, from a whole different perspective that we've never seen before. And this is the most powerful thing that I see. And I will share this. I will share this with you guys. Hi David. Let me just put in the chat. Let me see. Chat later. Okay. Just wanted to put that out there. Okay. For me, one of the biggest things that has come through for me about this 9 universal year is that this 9 universal year will change a lot of things. Okay, don't get caught up with how you think those changes are going to take place, or, how things are going to be, because things will never be the way that you think. Ever, 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 ever. Okay. So there is a lot of things that will continue to change in subtle ways, but in huge ways, in powerful ways, in uncomfortable ways, all of the above. And this 9 universal year and the last will be the end, will be like the closing of not just the last 9 years, but the last 9 times 9 years, the last 9,000 years, the last 9,000 years, the last 900,000 years. There's going to be a lot of closures, like a lot of endings. However long we each choose to stay here, it's important to really bring through the energy of just live. Live in this now. Live in the love. Live in your body. Live within that space of peace. Live as your light. We are going through a continual dissolution of living outside of that box that we have all accepted for one reason or another. We all accepted the old as the only truth, as the only reality, as the only thing that will keep us safe and at some level would help us survive. This is no longer the case. Every single person on this planet has awakened at some level. Okay, they're not going to go through maybe the exact same things that you went through when you awakened. They're not going to go through their awakening in the exact same way you did. It's like we automatically expect everyone to go through this in the same way. It's not. It's not going to be like that. Every single person has their own experiences to go through. And the other biggest thing about this whole transformative journey is that the biggest transformation comes from being pushed out of our comfort zone. Getting to a space that's so uncomfortable, that is so intense, that we choose not to stay there. So we're going to have to honor every single person's journey and how intense they have already chosen their lives to become in order to change themselves, in order to change their reality. Okay. Some people are going to go through just very, very, very intense stuff. Okay. Others are awakening more and more and more and more. And the more that you start to awaken, the more that you become more conscious, the less intense realities become. This is a massive, massive thing about, it's all coming to a circle. Yes. I was starting to talk about, a follower that came through about, kind of asking me about, what's going to happen. Why isn't the spiritual community talking about this? How do we protect ourselves from, all the big catastrophes? Okay. And the biggest thing that I said, and the biggest thing that I also share, is that this is not about protection anymore. Okay. We have to continually open up and embrace the consciousness that the word and the frequency of protection comes from. Okay. It's not higher states of consciousness. It's not unity consciousness. It's separation. Okay. because it's rooted in fear, right? Because it's rooted on, oh my God, something horrible and terrible is going to happen. Have to protect myself. Okay. When we operate from higher states of consciousness, there is really nothing that is not without purpose, divine purpose. Okay. So there's a bigger reason for why things are happening, which means that there really is nothing. There is no such thing as what the mind perceives to be terrible and horrible and, sad and all of these different things. So the best thing to do to align with the higher realities, align with the higher timelines, is to continue to open up, honor everything that your human body is going through, and your human body is your linear body. Everything that your higher self light body is attempting to do right now, so that your body can hold higher states of consciousness. When your body holds higher states of consciousness, that is what shifts your entire reality. That brings you up in dimensions. That up levels yourself. Okay, you are no longer within those really harsh realities. You're not. Okay, you can live in the same home, you can live in the same street, you can live in the same neighborhood, but your internal states of consciousness dictates what you experience. And every single person is living through different states of consciousness. The reason why we're able to tune into similar realities or see the same things is because our consciousness intertwines. Our energetic fields are able to align with one another, and we are able to see similar things. However, what I see is from a different state of consciousness than what, parents or friends see. So we may see an apple in front, we may see the same food. We may see, the same, if we have an apple on a table where we're sitting, well, we're probably all going to see the apple, right? But every single person is sitting at a different angle of the apple, so they get to see a different side of the apple. They get to see a different perspective of the apple, right? They get to see a different reality. So that's basically what this is all about, with how this works. That we are all sitting at the same table, but we're all sitting at different, at the different ends. So we get to see things differently. We get to experience a completely different reality. And we get to perceive the apple as, healthy or not healthy. We get to perceive the apple as, yellow, or another person could perceive it as green yellow, or the other person can, the other person could be like, I got a rotten, apple, but they're only seeing a quarter or half of the apple. So that you see what I mean? So what we're going to see is going to be absolutely everything. And the biggest thing that I want to remind you of, that this is going to be super activating for every single person on this planet. So however you perceive it, however you get to see it, whatever you have already chosen to see, remember that it's an activation, because everything in this world is. Okay? I don't care how you see it. I don't care how your linear mind perceives it. I don't care how other people see it and how devastating people think it is. It is an activation, which means it's going to wake people up, and not just other people, but it's going to wake you even more, right? So everything has purpose, no exceptions. This is not oh, it has a purpose if it looks like this, or oh, it has a higher purpose if it smells like this. No. Okay. That was another thing that I wanted to share. What was it? I don't remember. Uh, we're starting a new normality. Okay. Part of the transformation that we are going through on a personal level is it will support us in this new reality. We've had 5 years to really get a little more comfortable and a little bit more comfortable with how everything's changing, right? 2020 was like this drastic change. Okay. And then we just had to adjust. We had no choice but to adjust. Okay. This will continue to be one of the biggest themes. And I shared on my Facebook a few days ago about this is about allowing the shifts, the changes, and the transformation that is already occurring instead of resisting, instead of fighting it, and instead of forcing. Forcing things to change in this particular way, or forcing only things to change, or forcing things, only these things to change. Like, this isn't our lower self, old self, ego self, whatever you want to call it, is continuously losing, quote unquote, control. Okay. Your lower self is getting to a point where it's no longer going to run the show because it ruins it. It ruins the show, literally. It doesn't just run it, it ruins it because of the level of consciousness that it operates from. So, right now, what's happening is very uncomfortable for people because they fear loss. We have this really twisted perception of what loss is, of what loss means, of what the result is when we experience loss. So we're very traumatized by this. Okay. We're very scared. We will latch on and fight to the very end against this process because of our own misperceptions. So embracing this process, embracing all of the changes that you're going through is allowing yourself and gifting yourself with a smoother ride and a much more enjoyable experience. You don't have to suffer through this anymore. That was the old way. You don't have to suffer through this process. You don't have to suffer through um like you're a victim anymore. That was another thing that came through. And it's important, it's very powerful because I see more people starting to recognize, like, oh, okay, I'm in victimhood. I'm playing victim mentality. I am lowering myself. I am, you know, operating in this, um, operating through this level of consciousness. And it's so, so important to start to really tune in and really feel this and really start to become more aware of, like, where are you operating from? Are you operating from higher self, or are you operating from lower self? Because even that we don't want to know and we don't want to see. Like, if we find out that we're operating from lower self, is a terrible thing, a horrible thing. I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be, condemned to hell. I'm going to, whatever the case may be, I'm going to be punished. Okay. When you start to open and see that you're functioning from this lower self aspect, okay? Don't judge it. Don't label it. It is what it is. Okay, okay. I'm here. Let me just be more present so that I can be more open and not get it all twisted about how terrible and how horrible I am and how despicable I am because I am operating from a lower state of consciousness. No. Awareness is the first step and it's one of the biggest keys. But the other biggest key is to allow yourself to just be present with that realization. Okay. You're gonna have to feel, oh my God, the guilt and the judgment and the shame and the blame and the punishment and the I'm not good enough. Like, you're gonna have to feel all of that. But you're not gonna be able to feel it if you're not super present with it. Okay? Because this is our tendency. We see it, right? And if we don't like what we see, if we're like, damn, we're in this, lower self, negativity or whatever the case may be, it's like we automatically close our eyes and we automatically turn the other way because we don't want to see that. Okay, that perpetuates that. And at some level, it exacerbates it, it expands it because it needs you to look at it, to be fully present with it, and to fully honor it. Okay, it's not going to go away if you just turn your head or close your eyes or close your ears. Okay, but that's been the programming. That's been what we've been used to because that's been our survival mechanism. Okay, awareness. I'm sharing this so that you can become aware of how, because by the way, we all have to do this. We all have to become more and more and more and more aware of how the old works and how the old programming works. Okay. As soon as we see something that we don't like, as soon as we feel something that we don't like, we want to run away. We want to turn our head. We want to close our eyes. We want to not see it. Okay. Because we're too scared. But at the same time, not only are we too scared of seeing it, but we're too scared of actually freeing ourselves from it. You will always have this gazillion different aspects of yourself. The one that doesn't want to see it because it's too ugly, the one that doesn't want to feel because it's too heavy, the one that actually doesn't want to be free because not being free, because living in a jail cell has become more comfortable. Okay. You'll have the aspect that, is complacent, right? The one that is also in this complete opposite spectrum of like, I don't deserve freedom. I need to be punished, right? Um, all of these other things. I need to be poor and be humble in a way that like lowers me, takes me, keeps me away from my light and my greatness. Um, there's all sorts of energies with it, with the word humble, but there's an extreme that we make ourselves feel less than. We are all going to have to feel all of these different aspects. Okay. I want you to start noticing when you start to operate from this and when you resort to this turning away, escaping, running away, not looking straight into this energy so that you can start to you have to stay present with it long enough to realize that it's not going to kill you. Okay. Sometimes it might just be like, okay, I did it for 5 more. I stayed present with this energy for 5 more seconds. And like, okay, that's it. That's all I can do. The next time it's going to be 10 seconds. The next time it's going to be a minute. The next time it's going to be 2 minutes. The next time it's going to expand the more that you choose to stay more and more present with it until you realize, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, that wasn't as hard as I thought. And then you're going to start to feel the shift. And then you're really going to start to feel like the key turn, the door opens. You're going to start to connect more and more and more with that space and that aspect that feels more present, that lives from that free, lives from that peace, lives from that pure connected state. And you just continue to do and experience and feel whatever it takes to continually connect and become that. That makes sense? Oh, hi. Welcome, guys. Whoever's here, I see you. I see you. It's one of my favorite phrases from the movie Avatar. Just love that. I see you. I know that we are ready for this massive, biggest, most powerful transformation and change. I know a lot of us are already feeling it. I know a lot of us are already starting to become more acquainted with it, become more adjusted, become more comfortable. The biggest thing is that we no longer run away from the uncomfortableness of this. We actually embrace it. We actually go all in. We start to anchor more within that peace, no matter what we're going through. Doesn't matter how painful, how bizarre, how dizzy, how um, emotional it gets. We start to become much more open and we start to experience things from with our whole bodies. And that's also one of the biggest things that we feared. Because feeling with your body means feeling things that you are scared to. Feeling things with your body means that I'm going to have to feel things that I haven't felt in a really long time. I'm going to have to, go back there. You're not going back there It's interesting. There was once I was talking to a lady here, and I was just listening. I was listening. I was listening to her. Mm, and I could feel like this resistance, obviously because of what she was saying. She was going to like a meditation group with one of her friends. And one of the things that she didn't like is that in the meditation, they would go quote unquote back. Right. And so she's like, but I'm here, but I'm in this now, but I want to live in the present, right? I don't want to go back there. And here's the misperception. And when you become more and more and more present, you actually start to connect to many other states, other time and space. Like you start to connect to other spaces within the time and space perception. So it's not that you're going back. It's not that you are. I mean, you are traveling. The biggest thing is that as you continue to stay present within your body and you allow the energy to surface naturally at the beginning, I mean, that's the best thing. And until you really want to go to, until your higher self is like, okay, no, we're going here. We're going to go over here. We're going to go to this time and this reality and this memory and this experience. Which you will, and which will happen. When you stay super present within your body, you're able to feel and experience it actually in a much easier way. But our brain doesn't compute that, and so we don't really understand that. And so that's part of the reason why we keep resisting it and escaping from it. Which is also part of the reason why our mind doesn't want to be present, because it knows that it's at some level it's going to come face to face to something, someone, an energy, an emotion, or a memory that was way too painful. But again, when this comes up, you have to be super duper present within your body so that your body is able to feel it and process it, dissolve it at the level that it needs to, which can only be done within that pure presence. It can't actually do it when you go back and attach to it. If you're attaching to the past, if you're attaching to the words, if you're attaching to the emotions, then you're not actually feeling it. You're not actually in the moment, and your body has a much harder time processing it, which means it can take a lot longer. I read something the other day about your body actually just takes about 90 seconds to fully release an emotion or fully process an emotion. And I know it sounds crazy, especially when our minds get so stuck, our lower self attaches to anything. When you attach to something, you're not releasing it. If you're not releasing it, then it takes longer for your body to dissolve it. Simply put. So just breathe that in and just feel into it. Feeling something with your whole entire body is freedom. And you won't actually stay there longer than you think. Sometimes the reason why we'll experience that emotion longer than 90 minutes is because you're actually not just clearing one emotion. You're clearing a gazillions of emotions. Some emotions you don't even know you're releasing. It may take a little bit more time. It may take minutes, may take hours. It just doesn't. Time is irrelevant. The biggest thing is to go all in. Talk to your body. Prep your body. It's like you're prepping this child, like, okay, just breathe. You can do this. There's no rush either. There's no rush either. We want to rush things. Parents rush their child way too much sometimes too. So we may have that distorted mom and dad that's like rushing or like pushing or like on top of us. There's no rush. Okay, we talk about linear time and and our minds may be like, 6 months, oh my God, but there is no time. There is no time. The more you become more present within your body, you dissolve all time. Okay, those 6 months, this is what's also gonna happen. These next 6 months, the more we stay present, the more we're gonna be able to do. Okay, so in some aspects of our reality, we're gonna be doing the same amount that probably would have taken us 2 years or more. Okay. And yes, that's also going to be very true for the external. All of these things that are happening, I mean, they're happening right now. There are so many things happening right now in the world that, before, when we weren't receiving as much light, those events would have taken decades. It's not taking that long anymore, which is also part of how big and how powerful this phase is. Hi, Forrest. Checking comments. Those that are here. Hi there. Welcome, welcome. How are you guys doing? What's up? Are you guys feeling the change? Are you guys feeling the turns, the tidal waves, the tides, in some way we have to be able to feel everything. So like we'll feel the tides, the tidal waves, we'll feel the ground shaking, we will feel the emotional roller coaster of a lifetime. Yes, that's also going to be very, very true. We'll feel the roller coasters, the emotional roller coasters. We will feel the deep emotional storms, the twisters, the vortex, the deep movement, all these vibrations, right? Doing good. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear. We will feel absolutely everything, which is part of the reason why I mentioned earlier that your body will start to prepare you for what's to come. And so the more you allow your body to go through everything that's going through right now, the more you're going to shift yourself out of that vibration. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. So this is what I mean. Let's expand a little bit more into this because this is going to be really, really important. Okay. We will go through like the emotional, deep emotional purging. Okay. I went through, I went through, like, I started going through those really deep emotional purges 3 years ago. And I remember this might have been like either 3 years or 2 years ago. When my parents were here, I heard um the the Great Flood. Okay, it's no coincidence. We will go through the Great Flood personally. We will just go, you know, just showers and showers and of tears and tears and tears and tears and tears. Okay. And it's funny because right now where I'm actually going through this, it's been raining so much here. Like it's very like uncharacteristic for the month. And although I love it and it's amazing because it brings so much cleansing and clearing and purification, um, the way that I experience it is different from what other people experience it because I've allowed my personal body to go through the Great Flood first, right? And we'll go through the deep purgings, flushings. Um, our bodies are meant to soften the experience and somewhat save us from the catastrophes of what could potentially occur in our physical external reality. Okay. So, and this was just an example. Like I was starting to go through like deep emotional purgings inside of me. Uh actually for probably 4 years now, 4 years ago, which prepped me so that my body could align to a higher reality. So, what does that mean? Like in my physical reality, we get beautiful rain. We don't get, it's not floods. Like we won't have, we actually did once, but not, we haven't had it lately. There's people that, cars have flooded, houses have, at some level flooded too. And yet, because I already went through the experience internally, then I get to experience a different physical reality. Does that make sense? Okay. So super duper important to allow everything that's going through right now, that you're going through, that's happening right now, because it is literally preparing you and saving you from, other potential quote unquote disasters. Okay. This is in part what I was kind of mentioning with someone that brought this theme up about, oh my God, there's more and more. I don't know. I don't even know. Again, I stopped listening to a lot of things out there for the past 2 months. Because at some level you stop because you're like, okay, how much does it support? How much do you actually already know? Um, in any case, there is a lot of uncertainty. I'm sure all of us, most of us have already been feeling that. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We don't know exactly how things are going to turn out. Um, and I could tell you it's going to be everything. We are going to experience a little bit of absolutely everything. Okay. And the biggest one is this, like, the fight and the battle that we're seeing um, with the WW3. And this is an internal process again. This is an internal battle that we have going on. Okay. However, that plays out in our world. The biggest thing for all of us to continually do is to continually allow our bodies to shift that energy inside of us. Where are we still in this fight and battle? Where are we still in this resistance? Where are we still in protection? Huge, huge, huge one that's been misperceived. Okay. When you protect yourself from something, you are putting a barrier, which means that you're subconsciously perceiving that something bigger, more powerful is out there to get you. It actually increases the potentiality for that reality to be true. Okay, you're functioning from separation consciousness. Let's just plainly say that. Okay, the biggest thing is to continue to allow yourself to connect to all of those aspects that are still functioning from that consciousness. Where am I still too scared? Where am I still connecting? Where am I connecting? Where am I still protecting myself? Where am I still, you know, shutting myself down, lowering myself, shutting my light? Because the only way that things can shift is by your light and through your light. And when you shut your light, when you dim your light, when you resist your light, when you're fighting your light, this can't happen in the way that it needs to. Does that makes sense? Protection closes you and dims your light. Okay. This is not about battling. This is not about the fighter anymore, not even the warrior. This energy has come through a couple of times now of like the warrior, prayer warriors. And it's kind of paradoxical, as everything is in this world. It's no judgment. But where are we still in that? Fight or flight mode? Where are we still in this fighter? Where are we still in this battle? Where are we still believing that changes things? Like it changes things at some level because everything does. But we want to continue to connect to the higher states, the higher timelines, the higher realities. Okay. And it starts with you. Everything starts with us. How am I choosing my higher realities? Where am I not choosing my higher realities? Where am I still holding on to this, holding on, grabbing onto this, attaching to this, so that I can continue to breathe more light into that. That makes sense. The season is when the things turn out. What season? Did I miss something? Maybe I'm missing something. The battle's not out there. The battle's inside. The turmoil is not out there. The turmoil is inside. The chaos is not out there. The chaos is inside. Right? All of these different things. It's easier to see and point fingers. It's easier to be in this. It's easier to, see the external, right? Now comes to be choosing we become. Well, now is the time to choose. Like it's interesting how you word things. Now comes to be choosing. It's like Yoda, which I love Yoda. Um, the choosing has come. The choosing is in the now. The choosing is in what we're becoming, right? We're becoming so much in this now. We are becoming so much of who we've lost and we were disconnected from in this now. And the biggest way to become all that we are is by being in this now, is what I gathered. We the mind misses a point. The mind just wants to talk about peace. The mind wants to be in this love and light. The mind wants to just deflect, turn away, run away from the internal chaos, not realizing that through that energy is how the external chaos is created and fed and continued. Okay. So for these next 6 months, it's going to be really, really important to allow ourselves to start opening up a little bit more and a little bit more so that we can feel deeper levels of this very chaotic, the turmoil, the chaos, the uncertainty, the battle that each one of us is still playing, because we are each in that internal battle. Dissecting this is going to be key. And you'll go through phases. At the beginning, I say just feel into the energy. Okay, there's no labeling, there's, or very little labeling, very little, details. Just feel the energy. And I feel like this is one of the biggest keys because we're not used to that. We keep attaching words to energy. We keep labeling words to the energy. We keep, putting little bows and little bells or little, like we keep masking the energy. And the biggest thing is to feel the energy as raw. Just raw. Just feel the energy without the words, without the identities, without just feel the energy. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow your body to feel the energy. As you become more and more comfortable with this, then you start to shift a little bit and you start to see a little more. Energy becomes words, energy becomes images, energy becomes colors, energy becomes all of these different things. And you get to connect to that energy from a gazillion, in many, many different ways. Now, take everything that I say, like if you've been doing that, now you have to switch it. And because that happens too. Like, it's not just energy. Now Samantha, now you're going to have to see this. Now you're going to have to connect to this word. Now you're going to have to connect to this aspect, this 5-year-old, this 10-year-old, because everything shifts and everything changes. And this process will take you everywhere and will never look exactly the same as it did last time you did this, right? So anyway, oh, what? Wrong one. I don't know who's here, but if you are here, thanks for coming along. I'm gonna go with the flow. There's so many things that I have to just continue to feel into. I will share this though. I'm doing a 14-day transformational journey. But I'm gonna close it up probably this weekend. However, I do have I'll put it in the description or I'll put it in the comments and then later in the description. I'm doing a free transformational journey for those that would like to join in. My fingers. And that will be available via email. So for any of you that would like to join us and receive more guidance and support in your own transformational journey, you can sign up for that. Put that there. There you go. So right now, just through my newsletter, I'll be sharing, probably start on Monday. I'll probably start this weekend, actually. You'll get tips, you'll get tools, you'll get exercises, you'll get different things that will support you in this journey. And know that this is not just a 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. Like it just becomes everything. And as we embrace that a little bit more, it becomes so much more enjoyable. It's so magical, you know, as you start to shift, as everything shifts in your world, everything is magical, everything is beautiful. It doesn't mean that you'll never cry. It doesn't mean that you'll not feel the heaviness. In fact, you'll feel it more, but your body allows you to process it faster and process it deeper where you're not stuck in it. So then you bounce back into this beautiful magical experience of light. And my personal journey that has taken my whole entire life basically has, you know, gotten me to this point where it's so fascinating because I've gone through so many different transformations and I've gone through so many different phases. And it's like there's so much more. It's starting to feel like the, you know, everything shifts, the tidal waves shift, everything is going to flood in so many different ways and magical ways. But I've been living with it, that within that magic and within that peace and within that love for years now. And sharing that and supporting you guys in that and allowing you to give yourself permission and you to give yourself the opportunity to do this is what I'm here for, part of what I'm here for. So if you guys are ready to join us in this free transformational journey, then come and join us. And I'll probably do an extend of that, and just expand on that as well as we flow. So with that, I'm going to probably wrap it up here. Thank you all for being here. Sending you much love. Huge hugs. And hope to see you again next time. Ciao.